Mr. Jack Spectra made a video called "This is why League is so stale now." Why is League stale, Mr. Jack Spectra? Because personally, I'm enjoying the game. I don't know.
Long time. I started all the way back in Season 2, and throughout that period, there's been
Season 2. I started Season 3. Damn.
a lot of ups and downs. There's been some metas that I really disliked, and there's been a lot of choices that Riot did that I really disliked, while there's also been metas that I really loved, and there's been things that I wish, that they would bring back.
Man, like mythic items. We need mythic items again. They were so nice. I really liked mythic items. A lot of people didn't, but at least they were good. Except Gale Force, that was a mistake.
Sanguine Blade Draven being namely one of them. Fervor of Battle being another. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about how the current meta is and the struggles that I've felt that Riot has specifically had this year, which has been quite different from last year.
Well, this year we had Hextech chest situation. That was something. That was a fun one.
I want you to think about one fact. We are 5 months into 2025. What has changed in League in the last 5 months?
Well, the new map. Or wait, no, never mind. Before this map, yeah, we got the Noxus map. Then we got Atakan. It's kind of it. And then this new season now, we got this new map, the Spirit Blossom, and then they removed one Void Grab spawn. And then they reworked Atakan after 4 months because it was garbage. I think that's it. Item changes, not really. Yuntal still has BF Sword in build path for some reason. Don't ask me why. I Riot. I don't know.
Frankly, what has changed in League in the last 10 months? For me, this is the
10
core
months a bit more.
of the problem. League has never felt so stale. After 2025 season came in,
Honestly, I don't mind like less change if it means change is good. If they cook a lot of time on changes that are big and nice and meaningful, I don't mind it. But I feel like recently they really worked on like game modes. For example, we got Swarm, Arena, and now we got Brawl game mode. They cooked on game modes, I feel like they shifted their goals from like focusing a lot on like competitive solo queue and shifted their attention a lot more for casual players, which I don't think is bad, but me or like Jack Spectra here, like we are competitive players, so we care about solo queue the most, really.
we got the new Atakan, and we got
That's it, yeah.
That's pretty much it. And now going into season 2, we get a new Atakan, I suppose.
But actually not funny. It's really interesting. Before this season, everybody, myself included, we were complaining that items are getting changed every patch. Items are changed. The crit items got reworked so many times, non-stop. We got tired of it. We complained. We didn't want that anymore. And now they stopped doing it. Again, Yunta still has BF Sword for some reason. For such a long time. They haven't touched crit items in a long time. And now we complain because it's stale. So it's like, Riot cannot please us no matter what. And that's why it's good to just keep changing things every now and then. And yeah, it's fine. But you just gotta understand why we can be pleased. No, stop. It's not possible.
False. And a new map. And I like the new map. I think the new map thematics, both the Noxus map and now the Spirit Blossom map, are great directions that the game is going into to make more flavor and make it more spicy and stuff like that. But it doesn't replace core balance changes that are needed to make the game feel fresh. The meta feels incredibly stale. Every single patch for the last few months feels like Placebo. The only exceptions have been these ridiculous reworks like the Gwen and the Nafiri.
And now Garen and Aatrox are getting reworked as well. And the Nafiri rework was so bad.
That just turned out to be insanely OP while not really adding anything of substance. Where are my new items? Where are my new runes? Where is something I can get excited about as a player trying to play this game all the time? Too much change can be damaging at the same time. If they're always changing things, yes, it can be disorienting. You need to get used to the new changes.
Yeah, but at least it's not boring. And this is why like they're introducing WASD movement to League. WASD movement might be controversial, crazy, and maybe broken, but at least it's something new and exciting. I don't think that's bad. I think that's exciting and amazing. Honestly, why not? Let's go. Change is good.
Changes that they implement. But as an ADC main, for me, nothing has changed in the past year. The meta, pretty much stagnant. The same champions that were good a year ago feels like the same champions that are good now. I'm building.
If anything, though, honestly, I feel like people play so many more different champions now on bot lane. You don't see just Draven and Lucia and maybe Varus. No. Yeah, you see them sometimes, but you know, we just had Smolder, there's MF, there's so many different champions that people play constantly. And it's like, at least it's more diverse now. It's not the same champions non-stop on bot lane, because most ADCs right now are actually good. It's nice. It's very good. I feel like Riot is not making many changes right now to the game, because it's actually quite balanced. The game is actually quite balanced right now, in my opinion, which is nice.
Building the same items that do the same things while playing for the same win cons with the same players. And for me, that just makes the game so damn boring. I want variety. I want change. And especially, it's so in your face, kind of like it's like I'm being slapped in the face when I play a game of Arena with a ton of cool new items, with a ton of cool new augments.
Oh my god, I thought the Riot is just working so like crazy hard on their game modes, which is amazing for the majority of people and casuals. Majority of people are casuals, right? But for us, man, I want new items too.
That augment every single gameplay experience that I have on whatever champion I pick. And then I go into Summoner's Rift and I'm building my Kraken Slayer. I'm building my Yuntal.
I wish I could say I'm buying Kraken Slayer, but they removed the crit out of it. I don't know why. It was so cool. It's no longer a crit item. Ah, okay. That's fine then. That item is somewhat like cool because every third shot you have like the Kraken proc and it scales with crit. But now you have Yuntal. You get stats. And yeah. It builds out of BF Sword. oh, man. Ooh, merci beaucoup. Oh, anyway.
I'm building my Static Shiv. Whatever the hell I'm building. And I'm doing that again and again.
Oh, Static Shiv. Remember a Static Shiv gave crit? Oh!
And again and again and again and again. Where is the variety that was supposed to come? I understand that when Riot made the decision to remove preseasons, that they had to sacrifice a little bit of these explosive changes that they did at the start of the year. But we need to introduce big changes to make the game feel fresh. Normally, that would always be at the beginning of the year. And if they're not doing it at the beginning of the year, then you gotta sprinkle it in throughout the year. But they're not doing that either. If you look at the last few patch notes, one of the best examples I have was the Aphelios buff they gave. They gave Aphelios a buff. They gave him a buff. And I was really excited. I was like, oh yeah, an Aphelios buff. That was the most placebo shit I've seen in my whole life. Tar, can we get the Aphelios buff?
Where's my league client? Hold on. Guys? What? Riot! My client disappeared because I accepted a game? Huh? You push it off screen, I put it on the second monitor. And then it disappeared. I don't know. And I mean, what? I mean, champion select? Error setting room page. Okay, like, look. You know, League might be stale and boring, but when you have a funny moment when the client doesn't work, at least it's funny. The first people didn't ban. Are their clients messed up as well? What is happening here? Look, like, how is League boring? I've never seen this bug in my life. This is funny. Everything is just black. What is happening? Like, bro, like, League wouldn't be the same without these issues. It's amazing. But I feel like they should really rely on these issues to make the game fun. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I guess we need to relog. Like, oh no, I don't. I'm okay. I think I'm okay. We're chilling. It's okay. Maybe I should recall. I'm not gonna relog. Whatever. If the game breaks, the game breaks. Who cares? It's funny. Anyway, let's watch this.
on the screen here. Can we get that up here? This did nothing.
Oh, look at this buff. Oh, you get 0.014. No. Yes, attack speed per level. Yes.
This did nothing. What did this do? Aphelios didn't do anything. And that's the type of changes that I feel like I'm seeing in every single patch after patch after patch.
I think it's because the game is in a balanced state. But, you know, like, balanced is boring. If everything is balanced, only your skill matters. What is the, you know, like, there's a ton of changes, everything changes. You play around with new things. Something becomes broken, you abuse it, and you climb because you abuse the broken stuff until it gets nerfed. Bro, that's fun. That's not what a lot of people like that. If the game is completely balanced, like, you just need to be very good. It's like it's harder to climb. It's just not as fun anymore, you know?
I'm seeing a champion lose 1 armor. I'm seeing a champion lose 2 AD. I'm seeing a champion lose 5 damage. It doesn't matter. I want to see big changes. I want to feel like the game that I'm playing has changed. That there's new champions to learn, new items to build.
New champions, I feel like we have enough. I don't mind new champions, although, like, the latest champions, like Mel, like, bro, you can design better champions, okay? That are not unfun to play against. Something like Garen. We need another Garen or something. I don't know. Anyway.
Things to do. Now let's tie it back into competitive. Because I think at the crux of all this, one of the biggest dilemmas that I have is how this has affected competitive and why.
I don't know much about competitive. I'm just a solo queue enjoyer. I don't really watch pro play at all. But let's see what he has to say.
I feel like Fearless should have solved all these issues. In my opinion, it's actually not that big of a deal if Kalista is insanely OP in pro play, if it's Fearless.
True, the Fearless draft is actually fun. If a champion is played, it just cannot play it anymore in the next few games. Like, that's amazing. It's so cool. And that solves all the balance issues. And champions are no longer like pro jailed. Because Aphelios, for example, if Aphelios is good in solo queue, in competitive play, he is broken. And that sucks, you know?
You can only play her once, and then she's out for the rest of the series. Would I rather have a diverse meta where no champion is pick or ban in every series? Yes. Obviously. Is that a fantasy realm that Riot will never achieve? Yes, obviously. So I don't mind if Riot makes some champions that are a little bit overpowered. Some champions that are a little bit out of line, especially in competitive. In solo queue, it's going to be more of a problem because we don't have, you know, anything like Fearless in solo queue. So where does that put us? In my opinion, that puts us at a state where the balanced developers can be more courageous in their changes because they don't need to worry too much about affecting pro play in a negative manner.
Yes, but also, like, what's interesting about League is that when they make a new change, a lot of the time it takes like 2 weeks to change something again because they have patches every 2 weeks. Unless something is completely broken, they don't nerf it mid-patch. You know why? Because the Riot is such a big company that even a small little change will have to go through layers and layers and layers of people and checks and everything to be approved and released in the game. It takes so long to adapt, you know? So this is why, like, they don't want to go too crazy with the changes in general as well. They mess up, it takes time to fix, and it's a hassle. And if you take time to fix something that's already implemented, that time is not spent making something new again. It messes up their schedule, and it's just such a big fiesta of, like, I want to say paperwork, but it's probably not paperwork. You know what I mean? It just takes so long to make a change. And that's what happens with every, like, video game company that's actually very large. That's how it is. It is what it is. That's why Overwatch is dying as well, I think. Because any change they make takes so long to implement compared to other games like Marvel's Rivals, for example, that got released recently, that Overwatch just falls behind. It takes too long to change stuff, you know? Just an example. And it's very similar to League now as well. You know, it just takes so long. It's crazy.
If Gwen and Naafiri are insanely OP, yes, they will be pick and ban, but they can only be picked in one series. I like the fact that that should give them the courage to make bigger changes. But what we've seen feels like the opposite. It feels like the changes now are smaller than ever, being more fine-tuned than ever, to just push a champion from 49% win rate to 50% win rate. To push a champion from 51% win rate to 50% win rate. And it's like, yeah, you're doing the job, but it's so uninspiring. I want to see a change that makes me think like, oh, Vayne is a good pick, or I should play some Smolder, I should play some Seri, I should play some Kai'Sa, I should play some, you know.
Give Kraken crit again. I don't know, something big, you know, like yeah, that's what we do. Imagine Kraken got crit again. It would rechange everything for ADCs. One item, you give it crit. That's it. That's it, that's all you do. It's insane how big impact it has. It's so much more fun to play again. You know, it's insane. They could do crazy things like this for sure.
Something that makes me feel like the meta is actually shaken up is what I really want to see, and I thought I would see it. We're 5 months into the year, and I have yet to see it.
I completely agree with him, by the way. I think meta hasn't changed in such a long time. It's the same game. There's nothing like crazy happening, you know? And yeah, we removed the Void Grab and changed Atakan again. The new map is cool, game modes. But everything is kind of the same in a way, right? Like you change your first item and you change your first item, for example, and the way you play the game is completely different now. You change the runes. Ooh, it's different again. Like, you know, the items and runes have such a major role of the game. It's insane. Otherwise, you wouldn't have so many websites with league item builds if they weren't this important. They're huge. When they don't change them at all in a long time, it's kind of weird. At least they changed mate items this patch, which is nice.
And I have a theory as to why. And it's one of the things that Riot has talked about quite a bit. And it might be something that you actually would not expect. And it is Swift play. Because Riot is now actually balancing 2 modes at the same time.
True, I forgot about Swift play. Yes, Swift play, Brawl, Arena. Bro, the resources are split in 4. You know? Which again is good for casuals, but for us, not really.
They're both balancing solo queue and they're balancing Swift play in tandem. So what this means is that the same team is doing double amount the work, which means, you know, obviously Summoner's Rift and the ranked experience is going to get less attention. At least that's how I've interpreted it from what they've said. That's
yeah, probably. Although most likely they, I don't know, maybe they hired new people and stuff. Maybe I don't know. I can't say. I'm not working at Riot, right? But it does have a point.
That Swift play is taking a little bit of time away from their Summoner's Rift balancing. Now, to me, this makes a lot of sense when you look at the patch notes and you look at the trend of this year with how small...
Hold on, I just want to see if the client crashes again. Please don't crash. It's good. Okay, it's good.
A lot of the changes have been. And the biggest problem that I have with all of this is I feel like it's kind of using the fact that it's competitive is fearless as a way of not having to shake up the meta. You know what I mean? Like, instead of making a champion removed out of the meta and introducing new champions out of the meta, you can just make tiny balance changes that don't actually do anything and then just let pro players figure it out with fearless. And that's kind of the vibe I've gotten this year, which I think isn't good. I feel like when I'm queuing up for solo queue right now, I'm queuing up to play the same champions that I was queuing up 5 months ago to play.
I mean, for me, that's not an issue. I play Jinx anyway. Whatever, but I'm different. Yeah.
And that feels terrible. I want new items to build, maybe items with actives, maybe new champions to play. I don't think like, I think the new ADC that's coming out soon is exciting, but at the same time, this year we're gonna have 2 new champions, 3 new champions with barely any champion reworks. Like, where is the content?
Yeah, like, I personally don't think we need that many more champions in League. We have so many already. What we need is like reworks for sure. Still, there's still so many old champions that could use reworks and at least visual updates. Like, where's my Jinx visual update? She's been the same since release. She still has the old animations. What about Ashe? You know, so many more. Like, it's insane.
You know, like, I want more content for my Summoner's Rift gaming experience. That's my main experience, my ranked experience. And I feel like this year, there's been so little of it. And it's a unique complaint because I feel like if I look back 2 years ago, I'd probably have the exact opposite complaint. I'd be telling Riot, like, no, you guys are changing the meta all the time. Like, champion is only good for 1 patch, and then you guys are mega nerfing him again. And because I remember they would do that. But I realize now that I much prefer that. Because
you don't know what you like until you lose it, honestly. It's one of these cases here.
Because at least we have variety. At least we have change. And it's something that I am deeply missing with the current state of the game. And I think it seeps into both competitive and in solo queue. And I'm sure that a lot of you who are listening to this can relate to a lot of what I've been talking about. It feels bad when you've been playing a game for the past year and you feel like not much has really changed and there's little new things to actually learn. For me, the most fun part about playing League is that you can always learn and improve on something. And of course, I'm not perfect. There's a lot of things I can improve upon and get better at. But part
I mean, at this level, right, he's challenger, you know? Like, at this level, it's like, yeah, you can still improve, but it's like small little details, small little things compared to items get changed. Now you need to, like, learn the items again. It's much more interesting.
of that excitement comes from new mechanics, new things that I have to invest time into, that I get an advantage by learning. And right now, that just isn't the case. So I hope that Riot starts to be more willing and courageous to make bigger changes and actually introduce more content for the average Summer's Rift ranked player base, who probably you and I encompass, which will then also trickle in to competitive to make for a more stale, exciting meta, because the competitive meta for me as well has also been pretty much been the same, apart from a little Nefiri Yorick Gwen coming into a little gank, which is fine, but when it's the time frame, when the clock keeps ticking, I really feel like it starts to become more and more of a problem. If you guys completely disagree, let me know why.
No, I agree. I completely agree. Maybe not completely. Mostly. Some things, yeah, but no, he's right.
Why?
We do want change. We want the game to change constantly. It's been more stale this year compared to other years because Riot has been focusing more on their casual audience and game mods and such, and reworking and fixing some stuff, some mistakes they did, like hextech chests and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, you know. And also we've been asking for a new map, and look, they gave us 2 already. That's more resources going into that, less into gameplay changes, right? It is what it is. So he's not talking for the majority. Yeah, like, and majority of players are casuals. I'm quite sure, right? I think most players are casuals. They don't play the game every day like me and Jack Spectra. We play the game every day in multiple hours. So for us, it feels very stale. Yeah, of course. Of course it feels stale. But for your average player that especially doesn't play solo queue as often, maybe, and let's say, okay, I'll have some time, let's play some solo queue. I build these items on Jinx. Wait, Kraken doesn't give crit anymore. What? And that's why you see like Kraken on Jinx good for multiple months after crit is removed on Kraken, still being picked up, because people have no idea that crit is no longer on Kraken. You don't know. It's just, yeah, that's what you build, you know. That's what I used to build, so I built it again. Because people don't read patch notes. Most people don't have no idea about patch notes. They just want to play the game, you know, which is understandable. Yeah, it's very hard to balance like casuals versus like tryhards. It's a fine balance, and you gotta figure out how to like mix them together. It's very hard. It's very hard to design a game this massive, honestly. But you also gotta understand that a game for everybody is a game for no one. So yeah, you gotta, you know, maybe choose, you know.
Maybe I'm in the minority here. It's just a feeling that I've gotten that has progressed as I've continued playing, and it's especially amplified when I take a few weeks break, or I take a week break, and then I come back to a new patch and I look at the ADCs and I think to myself, damn, nothing changed. Maybe you guys relate, maybe not. Let me know down in the comments. If you want to learn from me, coaching courses, links
All right.
all down below, and also our second channel that'll be dedicated to League streaming
video.
highlights and educational videos, link down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe. Bye bye.
Great video, honestly. Good shit. I'm glad he talked about this subject because yeah, it's interesting. It's like, doesn't matter if he's right or wrong. What's important is that he's talking about it. We can have a civil discussion about it, and maybe Riot can get some feedback this way, which is very good. So yeah, I just, you know, personally, I wish, you know, they change some things because it feels a little bit stale. But at the same time, I understand the casual player base. They don't want changes non-stop. Of course, right? And having so many multi-game modes, having a balanced team for Swift play, a balanced team for Arena, it's like it dilutes, I can't say that word, the resources that Riot has, the manpower. compared to before. All their manpower was in Summoner's Rift solo queue. That was everything for them. So yeah, it's just and also like remember how back in the day they removed Dominion, they removed Twisted Tree Line. Why? So they can focus more on Summoner's Rift, which is the main game mode. So yeah. It's interesting how they went from that, removing game modes, focusing on solo queue, and now they go from focusing on solo queue to focusing on game modes again. And I think it's because they just want new players in. They want to bring new players in along with the WSD movement changes. They want more new players, which is understandable. Yeah, I don't hate it, but yeah, we will see how things evolve from here. Because I think Riot like listens to everybody basically. And right now they're focusing on game modes and casuals, and maybe in a few months they're going to focus on solo queue again, and who knows, right? We'll see how it evolves. But I'm still happy with the game. I'm still happy to play the game, that's for sure.